Welcome back to my channel. This is Jana with Janarollerfit. Thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video and taking the time to come and watch. If you are not already, please go ahead and subscribe now, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to like, share, and comment after the video is done. I am so excited to do this video today. Funny story, I had already recorded it and there was a glitch with my camera card, so I decided to refilm this on my phone. So I apologize if the noise or the audio or the video is a little off, but I actually really do enjoy filming with my phone. So long story short, here we are today. We are doing the Q&A video. You guys sent me some amazing questions that I'm so excited about, so excited to answer. But the main reason why I'm so excited about this video is I am going to be giving away at the end, drum roll please, a Mammoth mug. These things are amazing. I absolutely love them. I have three. I've got one in rose gold like you see here. You see my Buff Bunny sticker. I've got one in rose gold, I've got one in regular gold, and I have a matte pink one. And I just absolutely love them. They're very sturdy. They hold 2.5 liters of water, which is awesome. So I drink 2 of these a day. Yeah, I put my BCAAs in here and I just carry it around with me and drink them all day. No, I am not sponsored. I am not a promoter for them. I am not an ambassador, none of those things. I just really freaking love their mugs and I wanted to do something nice and give one away. So that is what we are gonna do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just dive right into the Q&A. Okay, so question number 1. Jen James asks, I know it's all in the planning, but what are your tips and go-to for meals when you're out and about and don't have anything with you? So that is a really great question, and what I am always telling my clients all the time is if you fail to plan, plan to fail. So I always make sure that I am carrying something with me at all times, whether that is actually one of my full meals if I know I'm going to be running around all day, or I will keep an emergency stash in my car. So that means I'm going to always carry either a Ziploc bag with protein powder in it or a protein shaker cup. My brain just went nuts. I'm always going to carry a shaker cup with a bag of protein powder in it and always a little Ziploc bag full of mixed nuts, or I will carry with me a Power Crunch bar or something like that, or a protein bar. So it's always good to plan, figure out where you're gonna be over the day, and take your meals with you or have an emergency stash in your car or in your purse or in your diaper bag. That way you always have something on hand. If you forget all of those things and you're in the moment, you can never go wrong with a salad. So finding a restaurant, anything like that, you can order a quick salad, like a greens with some grilled chicken, anything like that. Usually most grocery stores you can go and get one. So as long as you're in close proximity to be able to go pick up some like veggies and dip, maybe you pick up a small little pack of trail mix, something. Those would be my go-tos. So just kind of using your best to your knowledge, figuring out something that has a little bit of protein in it, a little bit of fats, and a little bit of carbs, then you will be safe. So we have a question from Caitlin Westwick. Picky eater over here. My question is, how do you incorporate enough vegetables in your meal plan when you dislike a lot of veggies? Trying to be a big girl and just suck it up, but it's harder than I thought. That is a really good question because I know a lot of people aren't huge vegetable eaters. So there's a couple of things you can do. One, just figure out a way that you really like to eat them. I found for me at first, while I was learning to eat healthy, I didn't really like a whole lot of vegetables, but now I absolutely love them. So in the beginning, I kind of just sucked it up and just found ways to cook them that I really liked. So instead of just eating them plain and steamed and gross, I learned how to like grill them and use sauces and spices to add some flavor, because a lot of the times people think that veggies just have to be plain. They don't. You can definitely spice them up a little bit, like literally spice them up a little bit. Just be careful when you're looking for sauces and spices to read the nutrition labels, because there can be lots of hidden carbs in that kind of stuff. And of course, if you are just really not big on eating vegetables, I suggest getting at least a greens powder that you could have in the morning, mix with some water and just chug it back, and that is going to make sure that you are covered for getting all of those micronutrients as well as antioxidants and all the other great stuff that vegetables provide. So we have one from K Larder 72. What do you say to yourself on days where you wonder if it's worth it and have absolutely no drive to eat healthy or hit the gym? I hate these kind of days, especially when they follow days where you're so full of energy and live for the gym and think the feeling will never go away. So that's actually a really good question on motivation. My thing is that motivation comes and goes. It's an emotion and it's a feeling. It's nothing that certain people are born with that someone has that another person doesn't. It's just an emotion. And so what do you say to yourself when you're in those moments? I kind of go through this like little monologue in my head where I recognize that I'm feeling unmotivated, but then I will repeat back to myself what my goals are, and then I will actually say some I am statements. So I will ask myself, okay, Jana, what is your goal? My goal is to get exercise, to eat healthy, to feel good about myself, to feel confident in my body, to compete on stage for the transformation category in October. And then I'll ask myself, well, does not going today fit those goals? No, it doesn't. And then I will say, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm empowered, I'm confident, I'm motivated, I'm inspired. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Like, I will literally say things like that in my head. Out loud, I might sound a little crazy, but I will say these things, and this is just what works for me when I'm in these moments, is that I need that self-talk in my head. But the key is you actually have to do it. You actually have to intercept that negative thought and the unmotivation and put something like this into place before it has a chance to affect you to keep you from going to the gym. Because what you're feeling is just an emotion, and it's just temporary. That feeling of I don't want to. Often we're tired, we've had a stressful day, and we often think it's a burden. But if we switch our thinking and think about, no, I'm gonna feel better after, I'm doing something positive for myself, I'm getting out the negative energy from the day, then you're really flipping the script on what your ego is telling you and what that like lazy part of you is trying to tell you, like, to not go to the gym. So just having like a little affirmation or a little script that you can say to yourself in those moments, and making sure that you actually put it into action. Something else that you guys have heard me talk about lots is sticky notes. I will often put these affirmations on sticky notes and put them all over my house. So in those moments of feeling unmotivated, I can just easily look wherever and see one of those sticky notes, and that is going to help me get my butt to the gym or to stay eating healthy. Any moment that I feel like I don't want to stick with my plan, I have those sticky notes and I have those affirmations there to make sure that I am staying motivated and inspired. Okay, good question. This is from Haley Moore. My question is, what do you think your biggest hurdle was throughout your journey? Oh my goodness, that is a loaded question. Wow. The last 4 years, like 4.5 years, has been a crazy ride. So I think for me, the biggest hurdle was learning my confidence in myself. Because I have been a yo-yo dieter, and because of my past with trauma, I had built it up in my head that I was a failure and I wasn't going to admit to, like, I wasn't going to amount to anything, and that I would always quit what I started. So I had to learn how to be confident in myself and have belief in myself. I think that was the biggest hurdle, because I had to really prove that I wasn't all of these things that I told myself I was. I had to prove that to myself. So I'd probably say the learning, the consistency, and the confidence to just keep going. And normally for me in the past, whenever something bad would happen, I would just fall off the wagon and just kind of slip back into my old habits. So the hardest part was learning how to not do that and create new habits and new coping mechanisms, and the confidence to just keep going even on days that I felt like I didn't want to, or if I was having a really crappy day. That was a whopper of a question. I could go so deep into that, but we only have so much time here, so I don't want to spend this whole time talking about that. So how to stay, from Maddie Jody, how do you stay on track during festive occasions like Easter, Christmas, etc.? This is such an awesome question, and normally around Christmas time, in my groups and stuff, I'll do like a whole series on this, and I actually will be doing a video more in depth when it gets to like that time of year, like fall. But this is such a good question because during the holidays is when everybody seems to have trouble staying on track with their goals and with their plans. And it's not just the holidays too, it's special occasions like birthdays and anniversaries and graduations and all sorts of stuff. Immediately we're taught that celebrations equal food. And I have this saying that I use with my clients. It's called moments over macros. So you kind of have to make a decision in that moment if sticking to your macros or your plan is more important, or is actually diving full into the moment with your friends and family more important. So that could mean like maybe you are visiting your grandma and you haven't seen your grandma in like years or months, and she's brought you your favorite baked goods, and this something feels special to you. Maybe it's a childhood memory of you sitting down with your grandma at the kitchen table and eating cookies. You know, sometimes that moment is more important. Is it an excuse to go ahead and dive full in? No, but sometimes just that pure enjoyment of spending that time and recreating that moment with a family member or a loved one or in a special occasion is sometimes more important and can do more for you and your soul than sticking to your plan and feeling kind of grumpy about it. Now, during the holidays, the most important thing you can do is plan. Plan. Pick one special party or one special occasion and allow yourself to just be free at it. Like, obviously don't stuff your face and go absolutely balls to the walls, but allow yourself to enjoy some of the food, to enjoy a glass or two of wine, and to enjoy the company. I will say that food doesn't make the memories. Food, nobody ever walks away from a Christmas party and goes, gee, you know what I really remember? I really remember the shrimp and the dip. Like, nobody ever does that. People remember the moments and the conversations and that connection that they have with the people around them during those celebrations. So if you work in a scenario where you have lots of office parties, or you have a large friend circle or a huge family, and it just seems like that there is like celebration after celebration, pick one of them and allow yourself to have that. And then for the rest of it, plan. Bring your own food. Eat before you go. Bring water with you. And just remind yourself that you have a goal in mind, and right now your goal may be more important than giving into all of these parties. Because during the holidays, there's so much temptation, there's so much stuff in your face all the time, that it is really hard to say no. So you need to be hyper aware, like hyper self-aware, and go that little extra more with your planning and staying on top of your goals. So that could be reminding yourself more often of what you're working towards, being more diligent with your macros, and learning how to say no to people. It can be hard, but when you want to achieve something, sometimes you have to make sacrifices. So you just have to decide what's more important, the macros or the moment. Next question comes from Shea Britton 40. Wow, what a great giveaway. My question is, have you always had the support of your family and friends? Has anyone struggled with your transformation? No. I've always had support. I've always had a really great circle of my friends and my family rooting for me 100% because they know my past, they know that what I've gone through and what I've dealt with in my life, so they were 100% behind me. I think at the very beginning people were very skeptical because I was such a yo-yo dieter. I went back and forth between plans and products and pills all the time, and so it was always like, Jana's on a new diet, Jana's starting this new thing, and I was always like buying like MLM stuff and like just quick fixes all the time, and I could never fully 100% commit to anything. So I think there was a lot of skepticism at the beginning of whether or not I was going to be able to do this, but because I made such a large investment into making this happen by hiring a coach, getting a gym membership, throwing out all the junk food in my house, and just doing a complete 180, I think my family was like, wow, she's really doing it this time, because I had reached that point of just my bottom. I was just done with trying quick fixes. So I've always had the support. Everybody has always been up behind me 100% and encouraging me to keep going even when I didn't want to. My husband has been the biggest support for me because not once did he ever complain, not once did he ever say like, no, you can't go to the gym, and he was always willing to watch our son when I needed to go, and especially closer to my show in 2017 where I was going twice a day sometimes. He was always there for me. And a big shout out to my family who stepped up when he had to work to watch my son when I was going to the gym and when I needed to meal prep and I needed a rest. Like, my family was there the whole entire time, always giving me support and showing up to my show and just always being there for me. So I can't really say that I didn't ever have support. Yeah, no, I'm very lucky, and I know some people don't always have the support that I did, and I know a lot of my clients, like some of my clients, don't have the support that I did, but it's really important to find those people that truly 100% support you and keep them very, very close to you, because those are the people that are going to have your back. And at the end of the day, as lonely as it sounds, you always have yourself, so you always need to make sure that you are your biggest supporter and that you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. But it is really important to have a circle of people, whether that's like 1 or 2 people or 5 to 10 people. It's always really good to have that support, and I did a video on how to reach out for support when you need it when you're starting your journey. So I'm gonna go ahead and link the card for it here, and you guys can go check it out. Neon Life asks, what do you do if you feel your friends and family don't get it? That is a really good question. Like I just said in the previous one, my family kind of always got it, so I didn't really have to do a whole lot of explaining. But there were times that I came across a few people that just were like, oh, well, you know, I'd sooner just eat food and be happy. And for me, my food addiction was definitely not making me happy, so I wanted to be able to change, and I was very uncomfortable in my body and in my skin, and I just didn't feel good, so I wanted to change it. For those of you that are dealing with friends and family that just don't seem to get what you're after, you just have to be okay with the fact that they don't get it, and just ask them to support you. That's the biggest thing, because you can preach, you can talk to them about it all you want. If they have their mind set on it, they're probably not going to change it. And the only way to maybe help them understand is just show them what you're doing. Don't talk about it, just put your head down and grind. Just avoid the conversation with them altogether. If they try to bring it up and try to preach at you, I would just say to them, like, I really appreciate that you care and that you're concerned, or I really value your opinion, but I just need you to understand that this is what I'm doing and this is right for me, and can you please just respect that and just stop talking to me negatively about it, and just be open and honest with them. Don't try to skirt around the issue. If they don't get it, they don't get it, and that's okay. You have your own goals and your own things that you're striving towards, and not everybody is gonna get it. So like I said before, check out the video that I linked in the previous question, and you can go check out just how to talk a little bit to people about that, because there's a good section in there about that. Okay, so we have from Danielle Byzantine, how do you cut refined sugars, and how do you know what to eat and when to eat it? So cutting refined sugars is actually a lot easier than you think that it is. There are tons of options out there of like your favorite things that have less sugar or that use stevia. So I would really look at like what types of food that you are eating. Say if you're eating like pastas, if you're eating a lot of baked goods, things like that, then I would start slowly with picking out a couple of things a week or one thing a week. So look at what your biggest vices when it comes to sugars. Like, is it donuts? Is it coffee drinks? Is it things like that? And cutting those out or finding healthier alternatives to them. There are alternatives to absolutely everything out there. So just finding those alternatives, like that is just the base place to start. But there's like some of the obvious stuff of like, you know, cutting out the junk food, things like that. Start slow, pick one thing at a time, and then once you get used to not eating that, then you can pick something else that you want to work on cutting out. I am a balls to the walls, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna dive in type person. So I just went straight to it. I'm just gonna cut out everything and I'm gonna stick to the basics. For some people, that's not realistic. That was realistic for me because that is just how my brain works. But I would just say start small, pick one thing, and then cut that out, and then looking for healthier alternatives. So you can literally Google anything. You can just read labels at the store, and if anything has super high sugar or super high carbs, just keep looking around the section for a lower sugar option. So yeah, that's what I would do. And then the second part of that question was, how do you know what to eat and when to eat it? That's a really good question, because if you're training, it's really important to know what to eat before and after a workout. And it also comes down to individually who you are as a person. So for me, I always put the bulk of my carbs in my pre and post workout meal, and then closer to the end of the day, it's more like fibrous veggies, protein, and healthy fats. And then earlier in the day is usually when I eat most of my starchy carbs, or those more complex carbs like sweet potatoes, sprouted grain, rice, oatmeal, things like that. Those are pretty much the carbs that I stick to because my body responds really well to them. So it also is individually to you and what your body prefers in terms of nutrition. But for me, and what I coach my clients on, is eating the majority of our carbs earlier in the day, and then as the day starts to wind down, to having like less carbohydrates and moving more into like fibrous vegetables for our carbs, because fiber is really, really important. So we want to make sure that we're getting all of our fiber in, and we get that through fibrous vegetables and complex carbs. As for pre and post workout, I prefer to eat a combination of protein, fats, healthy fats, and a complex carb before I go and work out. So of course the carbs and fats are going to give me fuel. Protein is going to help heal and support my muscles while I am weight training. And then post-workout, I usually stick to just a protein shake or a lean protein source and a complex carbohydrate source. Some people can handle more simple carbohydrates, things like bananas and higher sugar fruit like pineapples, whereas for me, my body responds really well to slower digesting, more complex carbs, just because of my passive insulin resistance. That's just what my body prefers. So I'd say you have to play around with it, but I generally like to aim for anywhere between 4 to 5 meals a day. That's not true for everybody. Some people are totally happy eating 3 meals a day. It doesn't really necessarily how many meals you have in a day, as long as you are eating all of your calories. I will say though, for individuals that have insulin resistance, the size of your meals does really matter. So for those of us that struggle to lose body fat, I would suggest breaking up your meals into smaller portion sizes and having more of them over the day, because that's less likely to spike your insulin as high. People with insulin resistance really struggle to process carbohydrates efficiently, and that can cause us to gain weight. So if you have a high calorie meal, if you're eating 3 huge high calorie meals, your body is really going to struggle to process it. So it is very individualized. Nutrition is very individualized to each person. So you just got to play around with it and just really pay attention to the signals that your body is giving you and adjust your nutrition from there. If anybody ever needs help with nutrition, just reach out to me. I do macro coaching for people. I do nutrition coaching as well. So if you ever need any help with anything, just hit the contact below and I'm more than happy to help you out. Okay. All right guys, now we reached the part of the video where I get to announce the winner of the Mammoth Mug contest. I'm so excited. So there was a certain criteria that you guys had to follow, and that was you had to like my Instagram post, you had to tag a friend, you had to leave a question, and you also had to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, very few of you actually followed all of those instructions. So I drew a name from a hat, and sure enough, the lucky winner of the Mammoth Mug contest is K Larder 72. Congratulations, girl. You won your very own Mammoth Mug. So if you can go ahead and just send me your email address with your shipping address, I will send one out to you right away, as well as your color preference. So once I get your email, I'll let you know what colors are available and I'll go and pick one up for you. I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining me for today's Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that I answered your questions and that you learned something new. If you haven't already, one more reminder to go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. I have a lot of fun videos planned for you guys. There's a new series coming that I'm really excited about. It's gonna be super wacky, super fun, and totally fitness related. So you guys are gonna wanna hang around to see what exactly your favorite redhead is up to. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.